Hello, I'm Joshua Pleasant, and I want to thank you all for coming today to my presentation. Imagine, if you would, your teenage daughter changing in the locker room. As she lifts up her shirt, she sees the penis of a transgender girl. This ordeal could be forever scarring for her. Would you as a parent allow such an event to happen? I think not. Rather, Bruce or Caitlyn Jenner, it is certain that both male and female have distinctive characteristics that can't be refuted. The American Association of Psychology identifies individuals who are transgender as those whose attitudes, expressions, and sexual behaviors are not congruent with that of their own sex. This has become a complex issue. Schools across America are making special provisions for transgender students. One specific issue among these growing changes are transgender students' ability to utilize the opposite sex bathroom. I would like today to take the stance that transgender students should not be allowed to use the opposite sex bathroom. This would not only be a harm to themselves, but to others. I would further like to expound upon this issue and point out viable solutions as well as the visualizations and steps needing to be taken. Lastly, I want to urge you guys to take action in the matter. The implementation of transgender policies granting the expressions and equal privileges of the opposite sex harm transgender population as well as the non-gender student population. Transgender students experience hardships because of their gender. According to GLSEN, in 2013, a survey they conducted showed that transgender students suffer a high level of harassment and discriminations. All of these things are happening in the school. In a 2012 survey of the National Transgender Discrimination Survey, students in the United States K through 12 accounted for 78% of cases of physical assault and 35% cases of sexual violence. Based upon this analysis, respondents experiencing discrimination and victimization had a higher rate of suicide. If we allow transgender students to utilize the opposite sex bathroom as provisioned in Title IX, we endanger their lives because there aren't any safeguards set up to protect them in the bathroom. While the state of transgender relations remains complicated, we can bring a solution to this issue by reshaping legislation, education curriculums, and home-based counseling. Current federal legislation provides provisions for transgender individuals to express themselves in ways that are consistent with that of their selected gender. But if legislation was passed that was sensitive to both transgender students and non-transgender students, we could alleviate some of the tensions arising within the schools. First step is transgender students should be given gender-neutral bathrooms to ensure their safety as well as the conformity of others. And if you didn't know, gender-neutral bathrooms are bathrooms that male and female alike can use. There must be more gender-neutral spaces to ensure the safety of transgender students. Rather than us putting an emphasis on policies including transgender students, let us first start by educating our staff, students, and parents about the issue. The school psychologist should provide education plans about the LGBT community to teachers, administrators, students, and staff. The enforcement of the rights of the transgender students presents ethical dilemmas for non-transgender students. Under federal law Title IX, transgender students are permitted to utilize the bathroom. But the issue that arises with this is for those that are non-transgender, people can say that they are transgender and use the bathroom to look at people of the opposite sex. A guy could walk in the bathroom and say that he feels like a woman one day and use the girl's bathroom and when he's really a rapist. According to Frank Arteles, a politician in Florida, he says he has no problem with transgender people. But he says it's subjective. One day a person feels like a woman, one day they feel like a man. How are we going to set up safe measures? The forceful legislation of these opposite sex bathrooms are presenting an ethical dilemma for parents. Parents should have a right to what their children are exposed to. Now that we can visualize the necessary steps needing to be taken, let us improve this matter by discussing it further. We can allow this problematic issue of transgender students utilizing opposite-sex bathrooms to increase school violence, allowing transgender students to put themselves in further compromising situations, exposing our youth that haven't had the proper education in dealing with this to handle this situation. We can focus on enforcing policies that don't work, or we can take the better path by implementing policies that are protective of both transgender students and non-transgender students. Establishing these safeguards through the education system by educating youth and educators will help to bring equality. The action that I would like for you all to take in the matter is to speak with your local representatives and voice your opinions about this, because Title IX as well as the equal transgender policy is going to come into effect soon in the state of Ohio. It's already passed in California and it's going to be enforced in Florida. In closing, I urge you all to be more aware of this issue and to not remain silent. Take a stand. Don't allow your silence to be your consent in this matter. There are psychological harms that are being done to your children. Instead, let us challenge those policies and create a more acceptable situation for both sides as we endeavor to further educate and provide safety for all people.